Academic and domain-specific words. What's that mean? Have you ever studied a new subject, only to be faced with a lot of unfamiliar words and terminology? What can you do to learn academic and domain-specific words? Get started with a video.
Hi, I'm going rock climbing this weekend with my friend. I've never been rock climbing, so... Sweet! I just got an email about it. So, what's belaying and rappelling? I'm really confused.
Words we don't normally use in everyday conversation are academic vocabulary or domain-specific vocabulary. Let's see if we can figure out one of these domain-specific rock climbing words. In the email that Jack received, clues are given about the meaning of the word belaying. It said the climbers would take turns belaying for safety. Another clue is that gloves should be used when belaying because rope can be rough. Based on this information, the domain-specific word belaying could mean managing the anchor rope for safety.
That helps. I'll probably learn more climbing terms this weekend.
Academic and domain-specific words. Not your everyday words. Academic and domain-specific words are used mainly in work and study rather than everyday conversation. Explore this video to learn about strategies for figuring out such words.
Hi, Olivia here. I'm preparing a presentation on photography for my art class, but I want to use the right kind of vocabulary so I don't confuse my peers. When you talk about things in an academic setting, there are two kinds of specialized vocabulary you might use. Academic words are words that generally are not used in daily conversation, but are used in academic texts and conversations. Most people in an academic setting will recognize academic words. Domain-specific words generally are not used in daily conversation or in general academic conversation. Domain-specific words are specialized, like medical, legal, and scientific terms, or like the names of specific parts of my camera. Trying to understand specialized vocabulary can be like trying to see in a dark room. Don't know what a dark room is? Maybe that's because it's a domain-specific term about photography. With the help of context clues and increased exposure, things will become clearer in no time. Here's my dark room, where I develop my photos. Still don't know what that means? Look around for context clues. They can help illuminate the meaning of domain-specific words. See that red light? It gives a little light, but it's mostly dark in here. A darkroom is actually a room with very limited light where a photographer develops film into photographs. Darkroom, negative, and exposure are words with special meanings in the context of photography. Those terms all have different meanings in general discussion. There are, however, domain-specific words you will not understand by context clues alone. The words aperture and lamp house are domain-specific words related to photography that may require an outside reference like a dictionary or a book on a specific subject to understand. Academic words are less specialized than domain-specific words, but they are still more specialized than general conversation. In general conversation, you might say, I see, whereas in academic conversation, you might use my perspective instead. Words like perspective, feasible, innovation, expectation, and determine are academic words. These are words that you will become more familiar with as you spend more time in the academic setting. When you listen to someone speak, use context clues to understand the person's domain-specific vocabulary if you can. If context clues are not enough, make sure to check references to learn what the word means. In an academic setting, you can assume others will understand academic words, but you cannot assume they will understand domain-specific words. always make sure to explain.
Key concept. Every domain, from auto mechanics to yachting, has its own special vocabulary. Let's take a closer look at how to find the meanings of these words. Begin by reviewing some keywords. Flip icon, flip card. Flip icon. Domain-specific word. Define domain-specific word in your own words. Remember, a domain sometimes refers to an area of land, such as the king's domain. It can also refer to a specific subject or topic. Related words. Academic word. Definition. A word having to do with a specific field of activity or study. Examples. Meter, rhyme scheme, and figurative language are domain-specific words related to poetry. Academic word. Define academic word in your own words. Remember, academic describes schools or education. An academy is a type of school. Related words. Domain-specific word. Definition. A word used in educational settings more than in conversation, often a more precise word in place of a more common word. Example. Academic words like analysis and justify are common in an educational setting. Context clue. Define context clue in your own words. Remember, detectives put together clues to solve a mystery. Related words. Context, infer, inference. Definition. A word or phrase in the text that helps define another word in the text. Example. The Pomeranian barked at me. I had never seen an animal so fuzzy and ferocious. It posed a serious danger to my ankles. The text gives clues to the meaning of the word Pomeranian. Barked suggests it's a dog. Fuzzy hints that it's a dog with a lot of hair. Danger to my ankles suggests that the dog is small. Using context clues, you can conclude that a Pomeranian is a small, fuzzy dog.